Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of our tutorial on how to make a Balmora house. We'll start with making a corner of the house and kind of building from there. But before we do that, we want to make sure that our grid and our angle buttons are checked here. The reason for that is each of the in static items here are usually 256 by 256 by 256 units. If you want to move those around, they'll move in increments that divide evenly into 256. It makes it a lot easier to kind of snap objects together. So let's start with our corner here. If I can drag it. Really? Okay. And you'll see that it's a little bit brighter than normal. That's because I've hit A earlier. And we can keep hitting A back and forth. If we have it depressed, you'll see that's a little bit darker. That's the actual in-game lighting. But if you want to see a little bit better in the editor, you hit A and it makes it brighter, which will make it brighter in the editor, but it won't have any effect on the actual in-game lighting. Okay, so what we want to do next is make another corner kind of adjacent to this. And an easy way to do that is to hit Control and D to duplicate it, then drag it over to it till it's just nice and adjacent to it. Then we want to rotate it using our right mouse button. And there we go. So now it's nice and flush against each other. Okay? So this is going to be the left side of our house. And now we want to have a little entry here. So we're going to scroll back over here and we're going to find N Hello Room Entry. So we drag that over. And now you'll see that it's above the other two parts of the room, and we want to lower that down. So I'm going to make sure it's kind of directly above these two pieces of room and hit F to force it down. And keep hitting F until it's actually flush against the ground. There we go. And now I just want to drag it. See? Now it's nice and flush. Okay? And now we want to have the same kind of the same wall over here as we do over here. So I'm going to hit select Control and Shift and select both of those, and then hit Control D and drag it over, then flip it over. There we go. Okay, so we're almost done with the walls of this house. We want to have a little sidewall here. So we're going to go back to our static menu, and we're going to select In Hello Room Side. Oops. Okay, and same deal with the entry wall over here. So hit F. Now it's nice and flush against the ground, and drag it and make sure it's adjacent to the walls. Okay, now you see we have a nice little oops, I think I messed up right here. Okay, so now you see now we have a nice little room that we can start placing our stuff in. Okay, but before we really get into the actual things in there, we want to add some windows. The windows, especially for the Balmora or the Imperial type housing, the windows on the outside and the inside are the same. And to get to that, you want to scroll up to your X, your exterior type objects. And so XLAU, and we want to look for XLAU window 01. And this is just your window. Okay. Now you just want to drag that. And you see we have a little bit of a problem because it's still on grid. It's hard to kind of put exactly where we want to put our window. So we're going to uncheck our grid box, and we're going to manipulate the X, Y, and Z axes. That way our window is nice and flush against the wall. And you can do that by hitting the corresponding type of axis on your keyboard. If you want to manipulate the Z axis, you hold down the Z button. X axis is X and the Y axis is Y. So I'm going to lower it down, so I'm going to use the Z button, fold that down. And now we can really just kind of pick and choose where we want this. Okay. Now we're going to do the same to the other side. Except I want it where it is, so I'm going to hit the X button, we'll hold it down. Actually, I'm going to hold down the Y button and kind of drag it over. There. Okay, now you see I got two windows to the house. Okay. Um, so now that we have that down, we can see that we have this nice little open space here. Um, this is an entry part of the room, but not the actual door jamb. So we want to go back to our in, hello, let's see, and hello. Find door jamb load. Okay, and let's flip it over so you can see the wall. Now when I hit our grid, okay, so now it's nice and a flush against the wall. And we also want to add a door. So when I hit the door tab, and we're going to go down to our in hello load door 01, drag that into our screen and kind of manipulate it so it's nice against that door jamb. Okay, so now we pretty much have the extent of our wall done. Okay, so now we're going to start adding stuff onto it. So let's first add a bed. So we're going to go to activator, and I'm going to hit name, the kind of sorted by name, and we're going to find just a basic bed to put in there. This one looks good. Okay. So again, you could drag into the render screen, uncheck the grid, since now we're not really dealing with the building aspect of it. So it's going to look a little bit more realistic if you uncheck both of those and kind of manually place your objects in there. So we're going to put a bed right there. Let's add some storage. So we're going to go to containers. Let's add a few crates in here, a few empty crates. So drag them to the screen, hit F. Actually, let's drag it so it's above here, then hit F. Okay. So let's drag everything in here. So, okay, that crate's in there. Control D. And kind of just manipulate it to see, kind of make it look like these crates were just hastily kind of thrown in here. So that's good. Now let's add a chest. Kind of a personalized chest to put our stuff in. Put an empty chest. That's good for now. Put it against here. Okay, so we got this section of the house done. Probably want to put like a bookcase to kind of show off, of course, our books, or if we want to put some weapons on there. Just kind of showcase, your spoils from your adventures. So let's go back to static, and we're gonna go to the fern. Excuse me one second.
Jack! Jack! Stop!
Okay. Now we're going to go to the fern, the objects. Oops, flora. And you can really just play around to get a feel where everything is at. Let's see, we're gonna put in a bookshelf. Nah, that's kind of a cheapy one. There we go. Bookshelf just like this. And you just drag it against this wall. And there's only a few minutes of video left, so I'm going to hurry this up. We got that down. We have, maybe a table here. Put a book and a sword or something on top of here, or you're going to put your meals. Let's put a chair right there. Okay. Put a chair right there. Maybe a couple cushions for people to sit on. If I can find those cushions real quick. There we go. Cushion here. And really, you just do what you want. Whatever you want to put on here, just put in there. Doesn't matter. Maybe my character wants to meditate or something like that. Make this one a little bit smaller. Oh, if you want to manipulate objects to make them bigger or smaller, you hold down the S key and you can drag up and down to make it bigger or smaller. Okay. And see if I can drag this over here. Okay. So now that that's against the wall, we're almost out of time here, so we're going to continue this in part 4, and we should be done then.